What's going on, everybody? You found Bottom Tier Collector, and I'm your host, the Bearded One. As always, thank you for liking, subscribing, commenting on my content. It's always much appreciated. I've been struggling to figure out what my next video is going to be. I haven't had a good thought for a think piece. Currently in limbo. I don't even want to say on hiatus because I'm going to go back to buying new comic book day books. It's just a matter of getting those funds there. But in limbo with the new comic book day books, trying to be careful about going to the LCS right now, trying to avoid temptation until I actually have some real extra money. Now, I'm not struggling. We're doing well for ourselves. Don't worry about me on that end, but definitely just trying to watch everything. I'll pick up traction here as my life gets back to normalcy. So, in an effort to just speak about something, I read a comic book and I'd like to talk about it. Is that going to bother you guys? I hope it doesn't. I hope it doesn't bother you. It doesn't bother me. But I read Captain America. Captain America? Are you serious? Are you serious right now? It's like 1 a.m. Maybe I shouldn't upload this video. We're going to try this again, okay? Captain Atom. We're going to talk about Captain Atom. This is... Actually, don't know if this is the first appearance of Captain Atom at DC. I was led to believe for a long time this is the first appearance of Captain Atom at DC. And now I'm not so sure. I want to say I read somewhere on the internet doing... I don't want to say research, but digging, learning about my character. And he may or may not have a cameo in Crisis on Infinite Earths. I finished, granted it took me well over a year, but I finished reading all 60 plus issues of Crisis on Infinite Earths this year. And I don't ever recall seeing the silver Captain Atom in Crisis. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but I think it's safe to say this is the first full appearance of Captain Atom at DC. And real quick, I say that because he was purchased by DC or Warner Brothers from Charlton Comics. I think DC may have purchased Charlton Comics. I'm not sure about my history. Please, if you have any information about what happened with the Charlton characters, put them in the comments. Really? Wow. My speech is not good today. I need to learn some words when I get off camera. Where was I going with this? Oh yeah, the Charlton characters. If you have anything about that history of DC, maybe purchasing Charlton Comics, or maybe just cherry picking some of the characters, put those in the comments. I would definitely appreciate it. We got Captain Atom here, and then Ted Kord, Blue Beetle, joins the Justice League International, and then who else do we have? I think Alan Moore uses Charlton characters in Watchmen, but that's about all the knowledge I have. I don't know who purchased what, but yeah, this is one of the Charlton characters, Captain Atom, and number one is created by Cary Bates and Pat Broderick. I don't know if either of these are legendary creators or writers. I feel like I've heard Cary Bates and Pat Broderick tossed around before. But yeah, I couldn't tell you. I know of Matthew Broderick, who was in Godzilla, and he also did Inspector Gadget. Those were two movies in like the late 90s. He had a little 15 minutes of fame, that old Matthew Broderick. But that has nothing to do with Pat Broderick. If you have any information on Carrie Bates, it sounds very familiar, Carrie Bates. It kind of sounds like Kathy Bates. But I know Carrie Bates and Kathy Bates are two different people. So if you have anything on Pat Broderick and Carrie Bates, please put those in the comments as well. So why did I read Captain Atom? Well, I had a little love affair with Captain Atom, if you will. Several years ago, I think I bought number 1 first. That was the first Captain Atom book I bought. And I think my love affair stems from Justice League International. Kind of reading some of those issues and saying, this dude kind of looks cool. Let me read up on him. Let me do a little Wikipedia search, a little Comic Vine research. What's the power set and all that kind of stuff. And, thought it was kind of cool. And so, came up on this. Lobo also has an appearance in Captain Atom. It's either 48 or 57. I apologize that the self-proclaimed superfan doesn't have that issue memorized. If I saw the cover, I would know with a shadow of a doubt that is the issue Lobo is in. But it's either issue 48 or 57. It's Captain Atom stepping out of fire on the cover. That's all I remember, and it's in the long box down here on the floor that you can't see. Haven't read that issue, but I did read this issue today, which is why I'm talking about it. Which is why I'm talking in circles. Get with the program, guys. Cut me some slack here. It's like 1 a.m. No, for real, guys. Captain Atom, fun issue. The origin story was told here. Definitely, we'll get the elephant out of the room. Definitely reminiscent of a different captain from a different comic book publisher. He was experimented on by the military and gained superpowers through this experiment. It kind of sounds like a different captain from a different comic book company. You know who I'm talking about. Big Blue. The big shield guy with the star. Yeah, kind of sounds like that. But it's a little different. It's a little different. This is Project Captain Atom. And Nathaniel Atom is a declared traitor to the country. I don't know if he is former military or not. I don't really know much of Nathaniel Atom's background. Other than we learn that his wife, Angela, died. And I'll get into that later. But yeah, so we don't know much about Nathaniel Atom other than tidbits of his past. So this Project Atom, we're not clarified. We don't know why they recruited this Dr. Magala. Dr. Magala was the head of this project. And they detonated a thermonuclear bomb underneath Nathaniel Atom. And throughout the issue, we learn through dialogue with Dr. Magala and the now Captain Atom that when they detonated the bomb, it somehow projected him into another space-time dimension, be it the fifth or sixth dimension or whatever, and that propelled him 18 years into the future. So he went from 1968 to the year, I assume the year, okay, not the year this book was written. The cover date is March 87, so it's safe to assume that this book was released on stands in June of 1987. So the year before this came out, 1986, is when Captain Atom was propelled, which makes sense because Crisis on Infinite Earth was in 1986, if I remember my history correct. And I was telling you earlier that Captain Atom makes a brief cameo in Crisis on Infinite Earths. So I'm connecting dots here, and that's pretty cool. And that makes me enjoy this issue even more. If that holds true, that he had that cameo in Crisis on Infinite Earths, that's pretty cool that they put a subtle reference to Crisis on Infinite Earths in Captain Atom. I'm going to keep going, I promise. They're discovering that he's channeling all this energy inward. I don't know how he's doing it or what he's doing, but it like that process. He's like this humanoid like energy, I guess you could say. I'm not really sure what to describe it as. And we're dealing with things we can't comprehend, right? But it's like this energy shaped in the form of a human, and he's channeling all this energy, and then the channeling of the energy gives him the silver skin. Now, I don't know if it's silver skin. I don't know if it's like a metal exterior. I forget details about the experiment. There's something to do with a UFO, like an alien metal substance they used in the experiment, and maybe that has something to do with his skin. Can't remember, but they reference. I read half this issue last night, and then I read the back half tonight. Both late at night, tired, so comprehension's a little wonky, but they do reference like the UFO alien metal that can't be destroyed in the experiment, and I just can't remember what it was used for or where it was placed in the experiment. Yada yada yada. But yeah, he gets that silver skin, and thus he's Captain Atom, and he can manipulate subatomic particles, I believe. And he can also shoot like atomic rays at people and cause massive destruction. Really cool. I'm not so much into science these days. I still care about it. I still like it. I'm just not as interested in it anymore. I feel like I've learned as much as I care to learn. And I guess if I learn anything else, it'll be from somebody in organic conversation. I don't really see myself actively nerding out about science so much anymore these days. I kind of had that phase. It came and it went. But it does the sciencey part of Captain Atom, which I would think may turn off some people. It may divert some people away from Captain Atom. If you read some of the more detailed, fleshed out parts of this book dealing with the science, it's very science fiction. It's not really fantasy. It might turn you off. But it's not so technical that it's boring. I find it quite interesting. It scratches that science itch I have. You know, I like to stargaze and look at planets, and I still have that sciencey interest. I'm just not interested in what I used to be interested 10 years ago, 15 years ago. But this just scratches all that. It kind of reinvigorates that interest in science. And I like that. I like being reinvigorated in science. We're also introduced to the malevolent General Eiling, who's the antagonist of the issue. So when Captain Atom wakes up 18 years later, he's greeted by General Eiling. And Eiling's very condescending throughout the whole issue. And then to make matters worse, when Eiling brings up Captain Atom's wife, Captain Atom says, "You're not going to..." Well, General Eiling is also putting down Dr. Magala. Magala is the only person in the comic book who understands Captain Atom and what he's going through. And General Eiling's trying to put him down, trying to turn Captain Atom against Dr. Magala. And he brings up Captain Atom's wife, and Captain Atom says, "You're not going to tell me where my wife is. You're going to show me where my wife is." Because up to this point, Dr. Magala's been telling Captain Atom, "Your wife is dead." And Captain Atom's been in denial this whole time. Well, we are taken to her gravesite, and not only is she dead, General Eiling was married to her for at least 15 years. Maybe less. But he tells Captain Atom how she grieved for 3 hard years, assuming Nathaniel Atom, who becomes Captain Atom, was dead. And 3 years is a long time. That's a long time to grieve. You definitely took, the tragic event that's causing you to grieve in your life very hard if it took you 3 years to get over it. I feel like some people can process and move on from tragedy a lot faster than 3 years. So it's safe to say she really, really loved Captain Atom. And Eiling kind of puts the salt in the wound. He says, we had a more mature love. It may not have been as passionate, as romantic as the young love that you and Angela once had. But we had things you'll never understand, and just kind of kicked the man while he was down. And just really puts heat on this General Eiling. I can't stand this guy. He's a real heel in this issue. And I wish Captain Atom would kick his butt. And on that note, there are themes of... I hate to say anti-authoritarianism, because General Eiling goes through this list as Captain Atom is waking up of these famous people who have died. John Lennon, Martin Luther King Jr., even says Robert Kennedy has died. And Captain Atom is legit. That was the name. When Eiling said Robert Kennedy died, that was the one name in the list that really got a reaction from Captain Atom. Like, no, this can't be true. So I don't want to say there's themes of anti-authoritarianism in this book, but there's definitely a sense that the military is not all loving and benevolent and there to do good things. They're there to do things for the safety of the country at all costs. Is really what they're there to do. That I'm not saying that's what I believe or that's what is reality. I'm just saying that's what was in the book. But I still don't get a vibe that Captain Atom is anti-military. I just get the vibe that it's just an honest take that not everybody in the military is so benevolent and loving and endearing. I guess that's the best way to put it. And then we, towards the end of the issue, we see that the military is going to take over ownership of Captain Atom, and he's going to have to serve the military in order to get his pardon. we learn on the first page that Nathaniel Adam is a traitor to the country. I'm not sure if I've said this already, so forgive me if I'm repeating myself. But the president at the time in 1968 told Nathaniel Adam he was going to get a pardon if he were to survive the Captain Adam experiment. Well, he did, but it was 18. But he wasn't discovered until 18 years later, and so there's a whole new presidential regime, a whole new, military corporate council or whatever you would call the group of generals, and so General Eiling tells Captain Adam, it's a whole new presidency. You're not going to get that pardon just because you survived. You're going to need to pledge your service to the U.S. government and do things for us to protect our national security, and then you will receive your pardon. So that's an interesting take. Kind of separates it from Captain America a little bit. The idea that the military is not all great and benevolent is something that separates it a little bit from Captain America. And I just think it's freaking cool. They detonated a thermonuclear bomb right underneath his body. That's freaking cool, in my opinion. There's no other. Now, in Marvel, I think there's a mutant that. He's like a ticking time bomb. He can cause nuclear explosions or something like that. I can't remember his name. So maybe there's somebody similar to Captain Adam, but I feel like there's really no other character in the big two that received their powers from a thermonuclear explosion right underneath their body. So that felt organic to me, even though they were borrowing from Captain America. Which, there's nothing new under the sun, so to say you're borrowing from Captain America is really not a knock on the book. I still liked the origin story a lot. I feel like I've covered it all, pretty much. We got hooked, we got baited, we got the origin story in here. We kind of see how he develops the silver skin. We see a little bit of use of his powers. We learn about Angela. They set up Dr. Eiling, and we're off to the races. We're on to issue 2, and overall, I think this was a fantastic issue. This reinvigorated my love for Captain Adam. I've had this issue for several years, and I don't know if I've ever read it until tonight and last night. I'm not going to rank it. I just wanted to review something so I could put a video up. I'm a little tired. I'm going to be real with you guys. A little FYI. I am a little, had a friend in town and we enjoyed a couple drinks, so pardon me in my behavior. I hope I didn't turn you off. I hope I coherently got through this review. And that's all I'm going to say for now. Thank you for liking, subscribing, commenting on my content. I hope in some way, shape, form, or fashion this interests you in Captain Adam now. And until next time.